Welcome to the Nikon D800. This camera cost me less than $500. Yeah, I mean, when it was released, it was probably $2 or $3 million, and it's a relatively old camera, I know, over 10 years at this point. But let's think about it. $350 from keh.com, one of my favorite websites. No, I'm not affiliated with them, but I just purchased so much from them. And here's why. keh.com will tell you the grade of the item that you're purchasing. They will say as is, and if it's as is, you're taking a gamble. It may not work, or you can use it for parts or resell it. It says bargain, which means they think that it still works, but it might be missing items, but the camera will still work, or the lens will still work. It will just have some flaws, and most of the times they list those flaws, or they'll say it's excellent or mint. This particular Nikon shoots with coupes, Nikon D800. This particular bad boy cost me $320, $350. That having been said, why did I purchase a 10-year-old-ish camera? Here's why. Now this time, I really needed another camera. What I've been doing is going through my inventory and selling things which I'm not using. And that means that I'm curating a bunch of cameras, a bunch of tools that I really need for my photography work, but also cameras that I absolutely love. Now, Nikon cameras are the ones that I love, but also they're the ones that I use for commercial shoots. The Nikon D800 has a 36.3 megapixel CMOS full frame sensor. Well, because it's full frame, it lets in, or it accepts more light to the sensor. That means in low light, this camera is going to be better for me than my crop sensor cameras. Now, I've had the Nikon D7100, which I love, but the extra 12 megapixels I get with the D800 really gives me wriggle room in my professional performance. Now, what it means to have 36.3 megapixels to me is huge. I can take in much more of that image, much more of that composition, and then pick which parts I want, zoom in, crop in, denoise it in Lightroom, and use those for my professional images. I love the fact that I can also use this in lower light situations because the ISO range is nice and high. So when it gets to shooting indoors, in stores, record stores, basements, nightclubs, that kind of thing, this is going to help me much, much more. If you think about it, released in 2012, this camera was $3,000. You know, in today's money, I'm sure that would be $4,000. Not a cheap camera. Today, I picked this camera up from keh.com for less than $500. Okay, I just checked KEH on the laptop. Unfortunately, the cheapest one that's going at the moment is $500. But that's going to change as you move on. Just keep your eyes out, have a look on Facebook Marketplace, etc., eBay, and you'll find these going for less than $500. And I would say go ahead and pick one up. Now, this was discontinued in 2014. The next model up was the 810, and then after that was the 850. Now, with the 850, you're going to be paying upwards of $1,500. Now, that's $1,200 difference. I believe the images that I take, I'm happy with for this $300 to $500 purchase. Let's have a look at the D800, a little 360. Now you can see it's a relatively large camera. This is a magnesium alloy outer, so you've got that nice weather resistance. It takes the same battery as the Nikon D7100, so I have a bunch of those, and the battery life is insane. I accidentally put this on the shelf. I was shooting some stuff yesterday. I put it on the shelf and left it on with the lens cap on, and it hasn't touched the battery that much. Now, The good thing that I love about this is it has a dual card slot in there as well. It takes CF and SD cards, which is great. I have a 64 gig CF card in the D800. I also use a 128 gig SD card. That gives me thousands of images, and I shoot in RAW so that then I can adjust those images where I need to, especially if I'm shooting professionally. Listen, if I underexpose, overexpose, use the camera incorrectly when I'm shooting a job and I'm moving quickly, then I have wriggle room with this camera sensor. I can pull those images back using Lightroom and salvage those mistakes that I make in commercial shoots. At the moment, I'm shooting with a Nikon 1.8G 35mm prime. This captures so much of my composition I'm looking for on street, and then I can just zoom in to whatever part of the composition I want, enhance that, crop that, throw it through Lightroom, and that's just what I do for fun. Now, if I'm shooting a commercial portrait job, I have my Sigma Art. This is 18 to 35. This is a fantastic lens to capture those portrait images with. Sigma Art lenses are a little bit more expensive. I mean, I think this one costs around $400. But if you're shooting professional, then this particular lens is really going to give you those images that you're looking for. I absolutely love this lens. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now I'm shooting, at the moment, this video, I'm shooting it on my iPhone. Easy peasy, no big deal. But obviously when you're shooting commercial, you want to make sure you've got the tools for the job. So the D800, should you purchase it in 2023? If you're shooting professional commercial jobs, you need a bigger sensor that's going to deliver. You need a bigger sensor that you can use, crop those images, and deliver quality to your customer. If you're just using a crop sensor, fine, it's just going to take more time. It's going to be more difficult in Lightroom. You're not going to have as much wriggle room to go ahead and work with that. So I'd say at least a D800, at least, if you shoot Nikon. Some people don't like Nikon. They think they look like potatoes. But I love the way they look and the way they feel in the hand. This particular Nikon, the D800 with 36.3 megapixel, is more than enough for what I need. Thanks for stopping by. Look out for the next one. I hope you enjoyed the images. Like, subscribe. I'll see you on the next one. Thank you guys. Take care. The Nikon D800 then. As you can see, a relatively large camera by all accounts, but it has a wonderful LCD display that shows me everything I need. And the old tricks, if I turn the power button this way, it's going to light up the LCD. You can see I have it in aperture priority, so I can use the front dial to decide my aperture, and the camera is going to set everything else. Now, this also has a wonderful live view option, which really helps me out. So I can go ahead and look at what I'm dealing with. And on the left-hand side there, you can see the volume of my microphone that it's picking up when it's recording. Wonderful, wonderful. Really, really good viewfinder on this camera as well. We have a pop-up flash, which always helps. And then on this side, we have all of our function buttons. Nothing new with Nikon's here. Really, really solid back screen menu button on as well, so we can see what we're dealing with. Or the menu is super tactile on this side. We have a covered USB in, HDMI out, and then microphone jack there, so I can put my mic in, but also the earphone jack really helps us there, so I can put my earphones in when I'm shooting 1080p. This has a really good FX video mode as well. The hand grip is pretty awesome. And then that's my beautiful sensor inside there. All in all, super tactile, wonderful full frame 36.3 megapixel CMOS sensor, released in 2012. Great camera.